Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Oh, how are you all doing today? Let me move this really quick. There we go. Hi, everyone. Here we go. We got the chat going, finally. How are you all doing? VR Master Rob, Diva, Rayan, Finley Scott, Texan Blue. Hello, Cookie. The Walk. Wow, that's a lot of people. How are you all doing today? Greetings. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about just checking in. You know, it's been a while since I streamed last. I want to talk about the survival stories, of course, as I've done in the last video, but just to get a little more into that, as well as a final lore project and what that. Let me move this really quick. And what that means, what final lore project. I haven't really talked much about that, so I'd like to talk about that today. ARK 2 and ARK 1 and where its future lies. And I'm looking for your thoughts because honestly, you guys, I assume, play the game, or perhaps you're one of the types of people who just watch these videos and sort of live out the game through this channel or through other kinds of ARK videos. But yeah. I'm the guy with the comedically long name, a Reaper Leviathan with common sense. I remember you. Great job with that latest episode. Thank you. I am Cheesecake. Thanks so much. So let's talk about it, I suppose, without further ado. This is also just a general Q&A if you guys are curious about the survival stories, things like that. Let me make sure the thing is up here. Boom. Dark mode. I really need to get some lights because the only lights are the ones from my monitors right now. So, checking in. When's the last time there was a stream on this channel? Let's see. It's been a very long time, I think. There's another sort of Let's Chat stream that was on August 8th. Wow, holy moly, it's been forever. It is now September 30th. What's your opinion with Primal and ARK being connected? I don't know, I haven't seen Primal. Depending on whether they make ARK 2 mostly story mode, I think ARK 1 will stay pretty alive. Yeah, we'll see. Doing the graduate students? Yes, that's something I'm going to talk about. So, checking in. Yes, it has been a good while. It's good to see you all in chat again. It's always a pleasure to stream and to see sort of a chat fly up. Now, the survival stories. As I'm sure many of you have seen, the survival stories for Aberration finally came out, and up until then, we were really just, really all we could do is talk about them. That was all we were able to do, and people don't really make the connection when all you can do is talk about a project, when you don't have results, when there's nothing that's actually released, there's nothing to show, there's no completed work to show, and therefore it doesn't really have a lot of meaning when you're like, oh yeah, this project is going well and it's happening and stuff. And so up until Aberration, a lot of people didn't even know we were making the survival stories. For about 10 months, we were working so hard on it, and yet nobody even knew it was happening or it existed. But part 1 is out. There's 2 more parts. There is part 2 is going to cover Helena and Rockwell, part of their story, and part 3 is graduate students, and then the finale of Helena and Rockwell. So with that said, we're going to begin working on it, actually not immediately. Myself and anyone else who's otherwise making content for the survival stories we're taking a break. We're taking a couple weeks off, namely I think 2.5 to at most 3. And sorry, getting distracted by chat. And furthermore, because of that, we are sort of just, trying to recuperate, I guess. I very much find these kinds of projects very stimulating, but, I think it's important when you're making videos, especially these long projects that require a lot of management, to just force yourself to chill out, even if it's hard, because it is for me. It's hard not to start working on part 2 right now, but I know I just need to chill out and especially let the GoFundMe gain some money. Speaking of which, you may be able to see that in the last video. If you want to support the project, you can do so there and donate to the GoFundMe to help fund the people who are making the art that's actually going directly into the survival stories for the remaining 2 parts. just came on live, so I'm going to ask, when is part 2 going to come? Is it at least coming in October? No, not at all. October is starts tomorrow and ends in 30 days. So by no means is it releasing next month or the next after that. December at the earliest. It's going to take a good while. It's not going to take anywhere near as long as Normality, or part 1 rather. Normality took up such a big chunk of that, but we just have such little mod content left that we need to make for the survival stories. And part 3, in fact, is going to take like such a small amount of time. It's actually incredible. Like from here, the videos are just going to come out faster and faster. Granted, there's only 2 left, but that's how that's going. So yeah, taking a break for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Now, what else? Final lore project. So just to be completely crystal clear, a lot of people don't know this, and a lot of people do not seem to internalize when I say this, but we aren't continuing the survival stories after Aberration. In fact, we're completely done with the project once we finish Aberration. As you know, there are 3 more maps after that. There's Extinction, Genesis 1, and Genesis 2. And people all the time give us comments, continue on to Extinction, continue on to Gen 1, Gen 2, please do this, do that. And at the end of the day, we're the ones making this, and we love to create, and we love what we do. But we do not want to continue on to Extinction, nor do we want to make survival stories for Genesis 1 or 2. These are, it's not even necessarily about the maps themselves. I love the story of Genesis 2 for the most part, aside from the weird plot holes and things. An Extinction story is also really cool if you've read through it. There's so many cool events that happened there. But at the end of the day, we've been working on the survival stories for a pretty long time now. Namely, me being the head manager, director, and coordinator for everything. And, it's been almost what? No, actually, the 25th was our 2-year anniversary. So it's been just over 2 years. And ARK Survival Evolved, the fact that we sort of started the project a little bit late into ARK's lifetime makes it especially hard to continue on, especially when ARK 2 is coming out pretty soon. We're at the ARK is about 7 years old at this point, and we're at the part in the timeline where it's like, all right, ARK's reaching that point where we're all probably going to move on somewhat soon. If ARK 2 is a real hit and people really like it, then we're definitely gonna, ARK 2 will sort of fade out of popularity. But yeah, that's the idea. And a lot of people, there's so much pressure that people put on us, especially, and that adds to it. When people are always like, or when people are like, hey, okay, make this, make that, make this quick. It's not that hard. You have no idea. It's really easy. That sort of adds to the encumberment of a project like this. And especially because when you start a map, you can't just stop. I mean, you could if you were like someone who didn't follow through on your commitments, but that's not what we're about. When we start a project, we finish it. And more importantly, we finish it in as reasonable of a time as we can, and having, reaching heights that are higher than we did before. And with that in mind, I know that if we decided to continue on to other maps past Aberration, we would be stuck in the water. We would be stuck in the mud with ARK 1 for a year plus. I mean, just because of the sort of track record of wanting to make better and better stuff, we're when we start a project, we finish it. And I have no interest in continuing to work with such an old game when ARK 2 will be released at that point. And so there you go. That, I hope, there's only 77 of you here. And so by all means, I've probably reached about 1% of the people who are curious about this. But there you go. We're not continuing the survival stories past Aberration. We're finishing Aberration because that's what we set out to do a year ago. We decided, hey, let's do it. Let's do one more map. Let's do all the characters on that map, and let's tell this story, because Wildcard well, let's show this story because Wildcard won't show it right now, at least. And that's the idea. So we set out to do that, and that's what we're going to do. And after that, we're finished. And what's after that, or after the survival stories, is, let me turn this up, is a lot of unknown, especially because we know nothing about ARK 2 and we know nothing about the animated series. But what is certain is there will be a special kind of video that I'm going to release after it, which is it's going to be my final ARK 1 lore project. And it's pretty much going to be a comprehensive explanation of the whole story at that point. It's going to come out at some point before ARK 2, in between when they finish up adding story content for ARK 1 and when ARK 2 comes out. Because, as you know, Wildcard continues to add new cutscenes, new lore content, all this new stuff to ARK 1, and as much as it's great, it makes it very difficult as someone who's trying to tell the story, to tell it to you and to show it to you, sort of comprehensively, because they keep adding new things to sort of retcons, which can potentially retcon things, but mostly just gives us new context and more information, more details. So that's going to be coming at some point. Then that'll sort of be the final. It'd be almost as if almost like a survival story in and of itself, but really just narrated by me, very sort of what's the word, sort of as a narrator that's telling a fictional story, not a movie, or not a narrative story that's actually sort of role playing and trying to describe a situation with the characters inside of it. So with that said, after that, of course, we will have ARK 2. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. Whenever people ask me about ARK 2, I don't know what to say, because it's weird. Like we know nothing about it. I feel like, I don't know, as a person, I just haven't had very much and I'm sure you guys can all relate, like ARK 2 hasn't really had a lot of sort of human press, I guess. All the press has felt so robotic around ARK 2, and I just don't know what to think about it, because especially when you compare it to how Wildcard has taken ARK 1 and how they developed it and their communication that they've had, it's just very sort of strange. It feels like a weird shift, because ARK 1 was always so relatively transparent about the artistic direction and all that. Maybe it's just because ARK 2 is just not even out yet, and so they're being secretive about it, kind of like how they were secretive about ARK 1. Then again, ARK 1 wasn't even really they didn't have any games on their belt yet that they could even talk about, and so thus, sort of made sense that they weren't as press heavy, or that they were more press heavy with ARK 1 than they are here with ARK 2, where it's very quiet, it's very robotic almost, lack of footage, lack of explanation, lack of communication. The fact that we've heard the devs really talk about it, right, yeah. I mean, what we do know, and what we have gotten is we've gotten Jeremy Stieglitz and Jesse Rapchak very briefly mentioning it. We've for example, more recently, goodbye, Tim Rack, take care. More recently, Jeremy Stieglitz just sort of talked a lot about ARK 2 in a relatively vague way with Gareth Coker and Jesse Rapchak. Aquatic! How are you? How are you, my good friend? Is that a gummy worm? How are you doing, man? I wasn't expected to see you here. Do you think the animated stories will tell us the story we know? No, I think it's going to be pretty different, for sure. But that's another thing, is the animated series, we, much like ARK 2, we just don't know what's happening with it. And so, again, when people ask me, what I think about it, I can't really say much. I don't have strong opinions with it beyond just, feeling kind of like I haven't been, in communication with the people who should probably be communicating about it, you know? But again, it's even hard to say that because you just don't know what they're doing. You don't know what to expect. Maybe it's going to be great. And that possibility being there makes it hard to criticize them too much for not speaking. The lack of footage for ARK 2 makes me remember how Gotham Knights were literally 2 years until... We're literally for 2 years until 2 months ago. What do you mean? I don't think I understand the question. Good bro saw it on my front page and was like, welcome to my stream, my friend. The animated series seems more like what the MC did with the Marvel comics. Same story in the most bare-bone way, but different to be in its own way. Yeah, right. I think it may be too different. Sorry, not sorry, but Vin Diesel being the center is a bit of a turnoff. That's another thing, and I think it's important to talk about that. Like, what does it mean to have Vin Diesel starring as your main character? ARK 1, for example. ARK 1 didn't care about big-name actors. ARK 1 didn't care about bringing a bunch of people on that are outwardly famous for their roles in movie, TV, audiobooks, voice acting. It just wanted to tell a story, a sci-fi story, and it did just that. And then near the end, you know, with Genesis 2, they were like, all right, let's bring in all these people. David Tennant, Madeline Madden, all the rest. Vin Diesel, of course. And so it does indicate, like someone mentioned above, it does indicate like, okay, is there a shift in the management of the company? What's going on there? Again, I'm not a very like speculation heavy person because I rely more on just what we do know. I try not to sort of think too much into these things, especially when there's such a lack of communication, like I mentioned. But Dark Spinosaurus, will you continue to make machinimas and projects after ARK 2? Film projects after ARK 2. Yeah, I've learned that this is definitely my thing, is making videos. So in some form, yeah, we'll be doing something, that's for sure. But I don't like to set up projects and just talk about them. I'd rather show you guys. I'd rather make projects and complete them and then have stuff to share. As much as I've released a couple trailers before, many months before a release, but trailers are trailers, okay? And things are still being worked on even in those trailers, so I think they're more fair. But yeah, are you guys doing the aberration dossiers? It's a great question because it's actually not been thought about too much. Of course, we would love to. Hi, Painted Savages, how are you? The aberration dossiers, one thing is Madeline Madden's voiceover is going to be added to the game for Helena. And so it's a question of whether or not we want to pay Yanni Harris a couple $100 to voice these dossiers, or if we just want to wait for Madeline Madden to for Wildcard to pay her, and then we can do it for free. So that option's way more appealing, that latter one. But how tall am I? 5'7". I'm not very tall, but that's all right. Are you guys doing the aberration dossiers? Wait, I just answered that. Maybe that was the same question, same person. You don't like Vin as Santiago. Blockbeam, one of your biggest fears is ARK being hijacked by Vin. People only talk about the ARK because of Vin. You have no issues with Tennant as Rockwell, since Rockwell doesn't look like David Tennant. Yeah, that's a thought. I mean, I haven't thought much about the actual like visual actor to character, voice actor to character model connection there, but has the fact Reaper Leviathan, has the fact that Wildcard added narrated notes filled you with enough hate to speedrun aberration? It's not in yet, but we're actually going to be adding our own to the game through a mod, assuming it's possible. It should be pretty possible somewhat. So we're going to try and do that before they do, and put it into a mod. So that's the plan. That is the plan there. Do you think ARK 2 will stay with the turret soaking idea now the combat has been completely reworked? Well, it's primitive, right? So I don't even think we're gonna have turrets, at least in the base game. I'd assume. But in other news, Arc One, right? I'm sure the sort of the consensus is it's sort of at its well, I guess past its peak, at its sort of the point where it's starting to maybe lose some speed. I don't think there is too much to propel it forward at this point beyond the Switch version, which is coming out later this following month, later in October. And of course, you know, they're releasing that new voiceover. Maybe that's part of their push to keep it alive, keep it on life support, I guess. What do you know about Arc 2? Not much. Again, really not much at all. Look forward to seeing what you do next. You're very talented. Thanks, Shotgun Betty. Me too. I want to make some stuff and you know, keep increasing that quality. Keep raising it. Raise the bar. That's the most fun. Wildcard should have just used your voice instead of making them up. Well, you know, they want professional actors. The only thing is, I guess it's not that much money, but for these professional people, there's a lot of. They're basically doing audiobooks by voicing the Explorer notes. I guess shortened audiobooks, because if you can add up the word count in all those Explorer notes, it's a lot. It's a lot of words. I've had to do that for these projects, and even though I'm working with people who aren't necessarily considered professional, I guess, I mean, they are to me because they're great. Some of them are fantastic, but even, you know, they're not super big name people, the people I work with, and even then, they're getting paid hundreds per video, per character, you know, and so I can't even imagine how costly that is for Tenet and Madden, but I don't know, maybe there isn't a huge difference there, even though they're such big names. Yeah, I mean, you know, Philly K, I am excited for it could be pretty exciting to actually finally get some gameplay of Arc 2. Have you thought of, or are you in the process of making a series or project that derives from the main story of Arc, like what Rooster Teeth did with Red versus Blue in the Halo series, Dark Spinosaurus? I don't know what you mean. We're kind of doing that right now, right? Yeah, Arc 2 is in Unreal Engine 5. Yep. Do you happen to own a suit? Aquatic, what kind of suit? What kind of suit? Like a suit and tie, like a business suit? Like a that kind of suit? Maybe I didn't see your, did you say something above? No. You're just scared, Hokuto Master. You're just scared it's not gonna be a sandbox type game like Arc 1. Part of what makes Arc one of the best games is the sheer freedom. Yeah. I mean, I think they're still retaining that sandbox element, if I'm not mistaken. You think Arc 2 being solely in third person takes away from the immersion? I think it can. You can play games like The Last of Us 1 and 2, or Uncharted. Even though I haven't played Uncharted, but I have played Last of Us. They pull off the third person really well. So it can depend, honestly. Some first-person games are very frustrating, and they ruin their own immersion. And some third-person games can be pretty damn immersive, and vice versa. They mean an original take of a machinima within the. Oh, yeah, yeah, Dark Spine. I know what you mean. I've thought of that before, but we never acted on that. We never went and really made our own story with Arc, because you know, it's hard. It's not even. It's just like kind of impractical and sort of unnecessary to try and work on two projects at once. The survival stories have just been there been a project that I've loved for so long. And it's always, the breaks we take in between are not enough time to work on another project like that. And so, Sir Noodle. And so therefore, we're not going to work on two big Machinima projects like that at the same time. So that's your explanation there. But for ARK 2, that's maybe. We'll see. You're down bad. You need one for this class on Wednesday. Oh. Dude, I don't have a suit. No. Unfortunately. I need to get one though. Hello, Carp. Oh, it's the lore man. Hello. I'm getting lost in the comments. You think that instead of tech stuff, they should have slightly more advanced primitive stuff? Will ARK flak Rexal instead of a tech Rexal? I think maybe they'll add DLCs with tech or something, but who knows? Immersive is very subjective, also. Well, yes, of course, but we're talking about sort of the average level of immersion, or the average number of people that get immersed. That's probably more relevant, I suppose, for a general gaming audience. Blockbeam, you don't mind third person. You think there should be an option to switch, but a game like ARK, Conan Exiles. Conan Exiles is mostly third person as a super rich story. Yeah, I've heard of that one, or I've played it a couple times actually. Not as familiar with the story. Why are people asking Ed what ARK 2 will be when it's not like... Yeah, I am not a wildcard employee, but I think it's mostly speculation. Hello, Ziavin. Thank you for such kind words. How are you? I'm good, Ari. How are you? Since the Rockwell ring got destroyed, do you think we're going to lose the dinos? Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think there's really only going to be a handful of crossovers. But we'll see. ARK peaked in 2018. I'd say actually 2020 is when it more or less peaked. 2020/2021. But probably more so 2020. If you look at the Steam charts, that's, I think, evidenced, maybe. You really like that ARK has that sandbox part, and lore is not the thing you need to do, and you can skip the notes completely. It's really fun. Yeah, I mean, as far as getting the story out there and immersing people into the story, I think it's not a great way. But for the actual freedom of the player, I think it is a good way. So there's sort of two angles there. Since let's see, they really need to show at least something at the Game Awards about it. Well, the Game Awards is a little far off. I mean, it's still about 3 months, I believe. So, and Extra Life, I think, is in November. So that's in about a little over a month. So, like Raz has said before, I think we might end up seeing some ARK 2 stuff at Extra Life on the Extra Life stream. Or the animated series, right? Switch version. Though we're going to get a lot more information, I think, on that in a couple weeks. Because it's coming out in October, if I recall. Oh, really quick. I must talk. Hold on, let me switch up the format here. Let's see here. Previous stuff. Let's do the... Where is it? Detour. Recline. What's this? What? All right, here we go. This is the... I just cleared the... This is fine. There we go. Oh, everybody. I have to talk to you for like 10... I'll make... Let's start a timer, okay? Let's start a timer really quick. I swear I'm not being held at gunpoint. Okay. I'm going to give myself 20 seconds. All right, so Gportal is a really great, it's out of focus, really great server provider. They sponsor us over here at the Netty the Noodle YouTube channel. Affiliate code in the description. It's really great. If you want your own ARK servers, go head down there and you can get 10% off your own Gportal today. And they're really great. Seriously, we use them. They have really good servers. Go click below. Okay, goodbye. It's enough. Thank you for listening. We only lost 5 viewers. Let's go. So, as I was saying, Gportal. Money time. Get this back. Here we go. Buy Gportal, buy Gportal. You think ARK 2 will follow the same business model of ARK 1 with expansions? Oh, I'm sure. They're doing the whole like they're really leaning into the mod thing, right? Because they're making mods sort of accessible on consoles as like with the cross-platform company software. I forget what it is, but there's a company they're working with that allows for mods to be made on PC and then essentially shared over to other consoles. How much do they give you for that segment? It doesn't work that way. They don't pay per segment or anything. It's really just a partnership. But yeah. Gportal, probably the only server provider that sacrifice one of the servers so I can nuke it with mods. There you go. Maybe it could survive the hellfire mods that you could throw at it because it's so powerful. Thanks, Gportal. I love my server so much that I rented too. See, Riley gets it. He gets it. Hope you get to travel all over a rat. I don't know. I mean, all over. You mean just like a decent amount of space? I'm sure that'll be sure it'll be a big world, but it's such a large planet that I doubt it's gonna be. There'll be borders. I do just wonder how they'll do the borders. Like, maybe they'll do like a sort of a ravine, like a huge ravine, kind of like in Breath of the Wild. Where it's just like impossibly wide that you can't get to the other side. Tobias. Will ARK 2 come with one or more maps? Maybe exploring. Yeah, it's a good question. I think to start it'll most definitely come out with one. The lizard is too small. What lizard? Are you talking about the one Mika sees? You're really hoping they add Maywings or something? Honestly, I disagree. I think I would shy away from flyers, or at least flyers that have that are overpowered. I really like that they're doing parkour, or that they've mentioned parkour in ARK 2. I like the down on the ground, gritty sort of traversal. And, for me, Maywings just kind of they're just so incredibly fast that traversal is almost meaningless once you get to that point. And it's not even hard to get Maywings either, Just wanted to say hello, Aoshi? But I just wanted to say I love the new Aberration video. It's your favorite part of the story. And official map of Alguero is your goat because of the dinos. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, I'm glad you like the video. What do you think is the more speculative danger in ARK? The use of element or the biology of element itself? Counterfully, its reaction with life and wanting to turn life into itself. What is the danger in ARK? The use of the element or the biology? I suppose it's sort of It's the same question, because Element almost uses itself. Like, it doesn't even need another person to control it. Like, it doesn't need another being to decide what it does. It pretty much, it can accomplish just about anything. But I guess it doesn't have much direction without people, right? Tech suit is still better than the Maywing. Like, in your opinion, or like actually? Hello, Golden. Person really wants to know Ned's favorite arc and creature. Yeah, but it's a secret. I can't tell anyone. Also, everybody, we've been blessed by the presence of Golden Drop in the chat. Let's get a golden standard in the chat. Can we spam the chat with the golden standard? Because that standard is what carried us through Aberration Part 1, the survival story. It's that golden standard, bro. Created by none other than Golden Drop himself. Mechanically, the Federation tech suit on Gen 2 is a better option. Infinite weight and power. Well, I was talking about the Maywing on like other maps, you know, because sure, on Gen 2 it's whatever, but on other maps Maywing is broken. Yeah. Is there anything in particular you want to see with the story of Arc 2? Diana, please, I guess, and like keep her good. Like, make sure she's still good. She's like my favorite character, so yeah. Hello, Ned. I don't remember if you said something about this, but when should we expect to get back into filming? Also, thanks for letting me do body acting. Thanks. Yeah, filming is gonna be whenever myself and the team making all the content has finished it all and we're ready to get into that. So first of all is actually, you know, making everything beforehand. Yeah, Robert Thompson, you remember that? When they killed iPhone, my Rock Drake? That's impressive. I can't believe you remember. You have very good memory. That Rockwell teaser, you liked it, Amber? What do you think of Wild Babies? That would be cool. I have a suspicion they would probably add something like that. Dying of exhaustion. Why is that, Golden? You think Diana die after extinction? Yeah, definitely. She died. It's been like eons since the events of extinction in Arc 2. But Lauren just dropped in to say hi. Just a short break from my scuba diving. Dude, it's been like a year since I've seen you. How have you been? Glad to see you're still doing scuba diving lessons, instructions, and instructing. That is a name I've not seen in a long time. How do you... Oh, this is a great question, Drewski. How do you endorse a game with so many programming flaws ignored by the devs in good conscience? Well, I think to answer that question, you have to first understand how vast the game is, how many flaws can exist with so much content, especially when you look at the fact that the game is like, when you have all the DLCs installed, maybe like 600 gigabytes of data. Mods, you're looking at like probably upwards of like a terabyte with enough content and DLCs and stuff. So it's a vast game, very massive. It's also on a very outdated version of Unreal Engine 4 that is hard to develop on. The dev kit is behind in many ways compared to even just the regular UE4 engine, as far as I can tell. And so it's a difficult game to develop for, and they have done an incredible job at actually developing it with the tools that exist right now. And so that's how I endorse a game like that. Because it's not that the flaws are ignored by the devs, it's that the flaws, as much as that's already a very vague term, they need first to be defined, and so there's like the flaws that are like fixable, and then there's the flaws that are just implicit in the fact that it's a very outdated engine, and there's a lot they can't do anything about because of that reason. So that's how I endorse them. But I don't work for Wildcard, of course. I just love their game and I love their story, and that's that. Yeah. Yeah, Bionic Scorp. Third person, it could be good. It could be good if they do it right, I think. As a Unreal developer, I can assure you that 3 and 4 were nightmares to update ongoing projects. If you quickly browse the Epic question forums, you can see what I'm saying. Yeah. Pretty much, there you go. That sums it up. Blockbeam, you're going to pop out. Love this discussion stream. Would love to have more of these. Have a great time zone. Bye, Block. Take care. Hi, Ness. How are you? You really hope Sleepy Shut In, you really hope Wildcard learns from their mistakes for ARK 2. I think they've proven themselves. They've proven that they can. They're certainly capable of it, and they're certainly capable of raising the bar. Making better and better stuff. What that means, whether that capability is translated to results, is something we're gonna have to see. Goodbye, Kula, AMV. Take care. Have a good night. Are you gonna kill all Surface Reapers? That's a great question. What if I could? I guess. Do you think we'll be going back to Earth at some point? Isn't it cleaned? We don't really know, I guess, right? Especially when they started editing the engine code that made it even harder to update. For them, it'd be better to just make a new game rather than try to fix the existing one. Exactly. Hence ARK 2. There you go. This is a Coal Miner's Reel. That's a fun song. You think it's gonna come out on time? Oh, no clue really. I mean, we don't even necessarily know what on time is beyond June/summer. Corchula, I think. Anyway, bye. But yeah, we other than just like the summer, we don't really know when ARK 2 is coming out. So can't tell you. Maybe Vin sees the potential in ARK's story. Yeah, I mean, I can't, it's certainly something I think anyone can look at and go, hey, that's a pretty great story. Hi, Wolf. I'm good. How are you? Journey's Core, butt face. Journey's Core is a series that I've finished up with. So I will not be doing anything else with it. Yeah, Bionic Scorp, I think your concern there about getting hopes up is I think that's why it's best for developers to try and remain vague about release dates and to not ever give a specific date until they're confident they can follow through on it. That's what we did with the survival stories for part 1. I didn't give you guys a very specific date up until I knew that it was going to be out by then, with almost complete confidence. So, I think we maybe said, coming in the coming months, but and maybe sometimes those were delayed, but or sort of vaguely delayed, but yeah, I think it's, you know, it's much harder to get disappointed or let down or get your hopes up when a developer doesn't give you a clear date, and I can appreciate that much. Hi Dennis, you gotta say you're impressed with the production value of my content. It's on par with YouTubers with 3 million subscribers. Good job. Thanks. Looking forward to what we'll be making next. So go check it out in a couple months, whenever it exists. By the way, I'm new on the channel. On that channel, do you promise me quality content? That is a very interesting, very upfront question. It depends, I guess, because I upload some weird stuff to this channel sometimes. But pretty much just about all my videos, I put a pretty good amount of work into. Again, it varies. Sometimes some things are just made just to get them out quick, you know, if I need to meet some kind of quota, but I don't have a lot of quotas generally. That gives you any confidence. Does he even read these? Yeah, he doesn't read these. I will get... What is that? Slime Knight. No, I won't, but still. Alright, you hold your tongue. Sleepy Shut-In, you've read that ARK 2 is supposed to be a survival game like the first game, and that the whole cinematic stuff was more so just for the hype. I hope that it will be the first genre and gameplay wise. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's gonna be survival based. Grant P. I'd say I suppose the island is kind of the go-to first stop. Is there an exact date for the... No, unfortunately there's not. Lucy? Oh. There's no date for the animated series at the moment. I would consider Element, I guess, as the main antagonist of ARK, VIT. Redacted. Are you satisfied or disappointed with the views on the Aberration video? It's another very interesting question. Very, I guess, upfront. I feel like those are rare questions. So I'm happy. I'm happy that this many people are seeing this stuff. By all means, very happy. What did I eat today? Ramen. And an orange, I think. I don't know. I woke up, dude, after I got out of that anime thing, I like went and got Chick-fil-A, like I told you, and then I got home, and then I like played VR for like an hour or two, and I got super sick and nauseous, and then I like passed out on my couch, and then I woke up like 10 or 11 hours later at like almost noon, I think, today. And then I just did a bunch of homework, finish up my homework for this week, and then pretty much got on here. But that's way more than just what did I eat today. Yeah, ramen, spaghetti, not great stuff. It's quite I don't have a lot of diverse food in my house. How are you with your health? Are you doing better? It depends what kind of health. I might have carpal tunnel, possibly. So I'd say mental health, I'm doing better, but physical health, it's kind of all over the place. Like I'm almost 21 now, and it's getting to the point where I'm like starting to get like weird things happening with my body that I'm like, okay, I feel like I need to see a doctor for this and that and like all these different things. Not to worry anyone. Sure, it'll be okay. Have you ever played Primitive Plus? No, I haven't. CW33. Better question would be, did you dream any monkeys last night? No, I can't say I did. I don't remember my dream from last night, but I don't think I've ever dreamed about monkeys. Heriberto? Valesquez? I'm sure I butchered your name. Has Wildcard ever reached out on the work you've done with the survival stories? You love the series so far. It's caught your interest in the lore side of the game. They haven't really. I don't know. I guess this isn't confidential, but I got an email from someone once. I won't give you any names. They seem like maybe they worked somewhere relevant to Wildcard. I don't know. And they were like, why do you make these videos? Why do you put like months and months of time into doing what should be their job? And I was like, I don't know, because I wanted to. So I don't think that person actually was real or something. I don't know. But yeah, so no, I mean, haven't really. I know they've shared some of our stuff before, but no, we haven't formally interacted much beyond a couple things that I can't necessarily mention. You ever reached the point of playing? Oh yeah, I think I've dreamed about ARK before. Yeah, their job is different from what we're doing. Oh yeah, by all means, that too. Yeah, I didn't mean to put it like that. Pretty much like sort of I guess almost like what they could be doing, if they wanted to go more into their story for their first game. We've all dreamt of ARK at some point. Yeah, I think for people who are very captivated by ARK, I'm sure they're so wrapped into it that they end up dreaming about it. With how ARK 2 is going, do you think that if civilization colonized the new planet, there might be a conflict with the people still on Earth and the people that want to be? Yeah, I actually mentioned that in a video once. It was one of those like lore videos for ARK 2, theory videos, and it's a thought like, if the people who want to stay primitive are gonna be fighting against the people who want the tech, who want to be all techie and stuff. We might see that. Any explanation on the cat boy on your shirt? Oh, I'm so glad I don't have a cat boy on my shirt. I am wearing this though. It's somewhat relevant because it kind of described like sort of the past 18 hours almost. It included all of the actions that I did within the past 18 to 16 hours maybe. Do Diana and May end up together? Retrowave Lemonade. They do, I guess. Technically. I mean, the extent, I can't really define that because they're fictional characters that write down their thoughts in fragmented Explorer notes that amount to very small diaries. But they seem to, by the end of Extinction, they seem to pretty much be together, more or less. I mean, they're like the last living people alive on Earth. Spoiler. The VR dude on your shirt is definitely a cat boy. Are those not ears? Oh yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah, it's the perspective. Okay, don't worry. It's not. It's the perspective. It's like viewed from the top, like at an angle. Menobot, you liked the first app story. One of the best videos you've ever watched. Thank you. Thanks, that means a lot. That's very nice. What do I think about the ARK Editions mod? I haven't really used it. Maybe it was in Monarchy, I think. But Dark Spine, an avatar situation of the people who want to embrace a new way of life and the people that cling to old ways and seek power. Are you talking about Avatar like the blue people or like Avatar the Last Airbender? I've seen the blue people one, haven't seen the Last Airbender. It was so great to hear your voice throughout AB. Retrowave. Have you ever done voice acting training? No, I haven't. Thanks. I was debating early on about whether or not I should voice Santiago and whether or not I should even have my voice in the video at all. It definitely helped a lot to help sort of bring things together when you can have that very flexible on the fly voiceover, because if there's ever like, oh, you know what, I should add Santiago saying this or that here, there, it made it very easy because I am right here and I can just grab this and but for about 2 years I've been doing using my voice on YouTube, and that was training in itself. Working with all the voice actors who we've had voice characters for the survival stories also helped, because when you can speak and work with people who do voice acting, who are sort of in varying levels of professionality with that, it helps a lot, because you can learn about that skill from them. Learning about a skill is different from actually executing it and using it, I guess. But I don't really like to say I'm a voice actor. I would rather just kind of do it, rather just kind of get results and show people, rather than thinking of myself as someone who does voice acting or anything like that. Because it's fun for me, but yeah, it's fun. I'm glad you like it. Speaking of your ability to do pretty good voiceovers, do you like D&D? The okay still correct. Okay. Yeah, I've played it maybe once, like 2 to 3 times. Once online. I like role playing. It's fun. I don't get to do it a lot, for sure, because I'm so enthralled by ARK that my scope of hobbies and my scope of sort of worlds and fiction that I'm immersed in is very narrow, because it's so centered, so focused on ARK, survival, evolved. What shows on TV or YouTubers did you watch when you were young? I watched a lot of Minecraft YouTubers when I was a little kid, like Cool Dude, Aviator Gaming. Sometimes that guy, what's his name? Sky Does Minecraft. And Captain Sparkles. I used to love Minecraft parodies. And because of that, my scope was so... My scope of fiction that I was consuming, or just like entertainment that I was consuming, was very narrow still. Maybe not even as narrow as it is now. It was still pretty narrow to just ARK stuff. Or not ARK stuff, sorry, Minecraft stuff, and Minecraft YouTubers and Minecraft music. And Riley, thoughts on the geology of ARK? Do you have to study the composition of the rocks? What's weird, dude, is sometimes I'll see rocks in video games now, and I'm like, is that sedimentary? I think I see feldspar in that. It's like, what the hell? Why? It's kind of cool, I guess. But yeah, Minecraft parodies. Yeah, I watched Minecraft, and then once I found ARK, I watched a lot of a guy whose name I'm not even going to mention. Let's say it's composed of 2 words, starts with T. The first word's T, the second word's F. He worked with a guy named Naked Zombo. Don't wish to say his name because let's just say he's out of the community for a very good reason now. But yeah, Naked Zombo, Syntac, as many of you know, Syntac. I didn't watch him too much. I didn't really watch a lot of Let's Players, at least after I found Slipgator. I watched so many of his Let's Plays. He was really the only guy who kind of was able to entertain me as a kid for ARK, like Let's Play videos. And King Daddy D-Mac, his friend. It was those. It was like the hermits. They'd come over to ARK at some point, and that was great. Slipgator, I miss him. He's gone. But more recently, more recently in terms of ARK content creators that I've watched, Zany Zebra was a really cool one. At least maybe like a year or 2 ago that I watched. I also liked the people who read the Explorer notes, like Kona Voice and probably a couple others. Those were some of the people who got me interested in the concept for the survival stories. Up from the Depths was more recent as well. He makes amazing videos, probably the best ARK YouTuber in my opinion. Raz Clark is a great friend of mine. He's also made some really, really cool stuff. Thanks, Dennis. Thank you. You absolutely nail voice acting. I'm really happy to do that and to keep practicing, because these are opportunities for practicing cinematography, but also doing voice work and putting it out there, you know. Have you watched Attack on Titan? Yes. Oh, I love that. I love it. It's freaking, like, it's my favorite anime. It's really the only anime I care about, I guess, now. Full Metal Alchemist is like great too, but as far as like recent, you know, kind of relevant to now anime, Attack on Titan, I think, because it's still technically airing. Golden. You can't look at mesas or canyons without thinking about normality. Sometimes you look at the clear sky and it reminds you of normality. Wow. Do you think we'll ever see Helena, May, or Diane again? No clue. Would I like it if we did? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I would love that. But what are the tech looking notes? Are you talking about like Diana's notes and Santiago's notes, the tech tablets, or does this mean we'll get a Rockwell rumbling? Attack on Titan, but with ARK characters? That would be funny. If you would make a tier list of best ARK maps, where would you place Ragnarok? 7th place. I don't like Ragnarok that much, okay? It's fine. It's just fine. You normies in your Ragnarok obsession. Eddie's the one who waits, confirmed. You know, that's a character that back when I was convinced we were going to do all the maps, I was like, oh, I can't wait to do that character, because it is a really fascinating character. It's unfortunate we'll never tell her story or show her story, but because she has such, like, I've taken a lot of philosophy classes, and long story short, philosophy, like, people don't like you if you talk a bunch about philosophy, because it's like boring as hell to most people, but also it makes them like question everything. And for people like me, I love philosophy, thinking about it to myself and not telling other people, because it immediately will bore them to death. But the the notes of The One Who Waits are pretty philosophical. They use this kind of language that that's very like straightforward and logical, and that's fun to. It's so fun to see that the difference between that and Helena Walker with her personality, and I think that's just a huge testament to Mark's ability to write characters and to do them so right. Like, I can't. I had no idea just how amazing and beautiful writing characters can be, like, until I found ARK's story, because I never realized like just how all the little like subtle details in what writing and how you write can, like, how that can shift what people how a character seems, like sort of shift all their personality traits. And because it's writing is like a process of figuring out which details of a story, if you're writing a story, which details matter and which ones are going to build the character and progress the plot, you know, and do all these things. And so it's Mark Soskin, the guy who wrote ARK's Explore Notes from like the island to extinction. He's just brilliant, and he's seen the survival stories, and I'm so glad. I'm happy to have spoken to him or chatted with him a couple times. He's such a cool guy. Yeah, they put so much depth into characters you never even meet. Yeah. It's kind of like bittersweet, you know? It's like the fact that, you know, the work that went into it is like, it doesn't care about who it reaches, because it just wants to be art, and it wants to like be, you know, it just wants to tell these great stories. But at the same time, it's unfortunate that it was never, you know, people don't read these notes. And I'm so glad that we can, the ARK community can sort of work together to bring these stories to light. Speaking of which, everybody, if you haven't already, and if you're able to, if you want to, please do go check out the GoFundMe. I'll go ahead and link that in the chat here. And even if you could just donate $1, $5, $10, any amount is super, super appreciated. Let me click the share button. Here we go. So this is the GoFundMe for the remaining 2 parts of the Aberration survival stories. And so if you want to support that, this money goes directly to the people who are making the art for this project and who are making the models, any textures potentially, more often just sort of models, mod content, map extensions, all that kind of stuff. So if you're able to, please do support. Super appreciate it. What you don't like about Ragnarok? It's not that I don't like Ragnarok. It's just like, I think it's overrated. The One Who Waits is Helena? Yeah, that's correct. Yep. I feel like they made these characters as sort of role models for the players to aspire to be. That's certainly one way to think about it. I think Drekus. Bionic Scorp, did you like HLNA, or did you find her annoying like most? She kind of changed over the course of the story. There was definitely a shift, I think, in the writers, maybe, for her voiceover and for what she had to say. So, but she's fine. I like HLNA. I don't like her as much as Helena, because HLNA feels like a caricature, which is of course kind of obvious. It's like a, sort of robotic replication of Helena's personality, but it was fine. Definitely won't beat Helena Walker herself though, or The One Who Waits. Alguero is sort of slept on compared to Rag. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. Rip to the horse that helped to nuke Aberration, the true hero. Or, Yeah, that horse. We called him Nuke Hoofum. I don't know who named it that, but maybe it was Spartan. I don't know. Someone. It's that horse wasn't included in the Diana notes, by the way. Like, we don't know how they hauled it up there. They just said like we pushed the cart to the front and like made a break for it or whatever, made a run for it. So we don't know if it was a horse, but I think it was kind of funny to make it a horse because it was kind of horrifying. Like early, we had a different horse sound at first that Ness wanted me to change. It was like kind of like almost humorous when the horse got blown up, but in the actual video, in the final cut, it was pretty sad, I think. Rip Hoof Nukem. Go ahead and slap this in here as well, everyone. If you haven't already, come join our Discord. We have a ARK lore Discord. That's a lot of what we talk about. We have a channel dedicated to ARK lore. And if you want to come chat about it with everyone, come join. Discord is pretty much free to, yeah, it's free to get, freely accessible. You can get it on your phone / computer device. It's just also accessible on websites too. So go check out our Discord over there. Link is there, yes. Kronos, you wonder if the NPCs on ARK are gonna have tames as well. They'll also have their own bases that we can raid and take their loot depending on their difficulty level. Yeah, I mean, they kind of did that with Atlas almost. You know? I don't know if they had creatures, tamed enemy creatures, but they had those like outposts and stuff. Liberation always had those element pools and that spine-like structure. That was because of the tech bomb. Oh, yeah, you bring up I think you're maybe one of the first comments to acknowledge this. Our interpretation of the ruins are its own thing, and everyone's just gonna sort of have to, that's something everyone who watches the remaining two parts, that's something they're gonna have to acknowledge as just like that's the way that we went with it, because there's so many different interpretations of what those ruins mean. Am I religious, Slime Knight? No, I'm not religious. I have no religious affiliation. Maybe I'm agnostic. I don't know. I feel like I'm just none. I'm not even atheist. I'm just like none. I don't know if that makes me atheist. I've zero religious beliefs that I hold myself to. I'm certainly capable of thinking about religion, and I maybe in the past I used to say I was atheist, but now I just don't even. I have no. Head is empty. I have no religion, has no meaning to me, or not meaning, but it has no relevance in my life for me personally. If hi Conrad Lamb, no one has asked this. What was the tech bomb like thingy that you can hold when you filmed an app? It's essentially a tech nuke. It was modeled by Redgear17, who's a really great modeler. I don't know if I'm agnostic, lol. I don't know if I don't. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. LKD70. We need to start yeah, I'll just make my own religion. The religion of noodles. Yeah. Ned theist. I'm pretty fascinated by religion. Like it's interesting to me, for sure. Especially because of the philosophy classes I took. I would think that, or I thought that taking philosophy classes would have made me less interested in religion, like more inclined to not be religious. But it actually just made me more interested in it. It was like, oh, you know what? Religious people can actually have good arguments sometimes. Like that's fascinating. How long, Derp the hamster, how long do you think the next Nut story will be done? Once we start working on it in 2 to 3 weeks, part 2 is going to release some point in about probably 4 months-ish. Not going to give anyone a release date, so I don't get your hopes up, but that's my estimate. And then for part 3, it's going to come almost right after. It's going to come very soon after. So it will not be 10 months, don't worry. I mean, technically within 10 months, like Conrad said, but it's not going to take 10 months. So don't have to worry there. I will make sure of it. I can assure you, unless something very unfortunate happens. Because you could always say that in any situation. This thing will happen unless a tree falls on me and kills me. Then it won't. But Raz has invited you to join him? What? Since when? Did Raz say that? You messing with me?
No, I didn't think of doing that in the first place. I was nearly going to go for a little sleep.
he's playing Svartalfheim. Since when has he invited me? Are you pulling my leg? Looks like he's having fun though. Welcome to the Genesis simulation. Just now he's streaming. By the way, are you voicing one of the characters? I forgot his name. Yeah, Santiago in part 2 and 3. Well, yeah, it'll be in part 2 and 3. Santiago's pretty much in all the parts. Yeah. Hen dog. Hello. How do I feel about Carnos? Carnos are cute. Their little arms, it's really adorable. How are you, Finley Scott? I'm good. How are you? Yeah, LKD. I've actually heard some things about official, that is worrying. I mean, it's not something I didn't foresee, but as a PvE person, someone who doesn't play on official, I think more than anything, it's hard to want to or see that as appealing, I guess, with just the kind of energy that the community exudes and the kinds of stories that I've heard about official servers, namely official PvP. Hand Dog, you've been watching me for 2 years. You've now been able to chat. You like Dirty's Core. Thanks. That's really nice. We when I was making all those videos, it was weird because I don't know, we had so much footage recorded because those videos were made many months after we actually recorded them. And I didn't know how they'd turn out, but I think those videos were really helpful because they were multiple hours of just edited video by the end in the whole series. And it really helped me come out of my shell and do a lot more voiceover than I was ever used to. They were pretty big projects. All right, well, everyone, it's been a pleasure talking to you all. I think I'm going to end the stream very soon here. But yeah, I just wanted to catch up, talk about ARK 1, ARK 2, the survival stories, check in with you all, because it has been over a month since I streamed, and I miss it. I miss talking to you guys and having chat to hang out with. And it's always good to just get all of your perspective and all of your perspectives and your feedback. So with that said, everyone, let me get some funny music. Let me see here. Here we go. This one. I use this one for Monarchy. back in the Monarchy videos. Will Journey score off console service? No, it will not. It's PC only. But thanks everyone so much for coming on over. Fat Talk has a film technique in his intro that makes it look like stop motion. Oh, I asked him about that. It was really interesting. He is such a brilliant guy. He's done some great stuff. Yeah, closing thoughts, just as a reminder, everyone, you can support the GoFundMe for the remaining parts of Aberration right here. And if you feel like doing so, please do. Super appreciate it. But, and furthermore, part 2 and 3 are coming soon. TM. You'll see. I'm going to try not to hype it up too much. Sort of in very early stages, I'll try and just hype it up closer to the finish line, we can say. But yeah, thanks all for coming, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye, everyone. Take care.